Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show, the Cricket Happening show here with your host Ram. And as far as today's cricket show is concerned, it's going to be the second day's play in the Test match between England and India, which really panned out very well with India racing a very big total, but definitely England seeing to it that they restricted the Indians to 455. They didn't allow them to go past the magical 500 mark. So that was a job well done, I thought, by England. And after that, England definitely were really struggling. If you look at it, they finished the day on the second day at 103 for 5. So their primary aim now is to avoid the follow on. They need to get 255, but they have two very solid players in the middle, Ben Stokes and Bairstow on 12 apiece. But one feels that on this pitch, which is already beginning to crumble, one could say, because showing signs of good turn, and sometimes the ball is skipping low, there is some uneven bounce too, and I think it's going to be very difficult for the England players on the third day. But one has to see what the approach is, whether Ben Stokes and Bairstow both are aggressive players, if they probably adopt a sort of a gung-ho approach where they try to go for the Indian bowling, and probably whether that works. But England definitely had their trouble, and they were reduced to 103 for 5. So still there's a long way to go for England. They still need 352 runs to actually reach that Indian total, and that definitely looks far off. There's no doubt about it. So that is something that during the course of my show today I'll be having a look at it. But in the meanwhile, I can give you a live cricket update here coming from Hagley Oval in Christchurch. We'll also look at that match, no doubt about it. Now, yesterday, as you know, the Colin D. Grantham of New Zealand actually made a wonderful debut, and he broke a 65-year-old record, which was standing in the name of a bowler called Alex Moir, who actually had 6 wickets for 155 runs against England at Christchurch, and it was at the same ground that he did it. So that is the coincidence. He also, but probably he did it at the other ground, I suppose. Hagley Oval is a new ground, probably in 1951. I'm pretty sure the Hagley Oval was not there. Probably it was a different ground. I'm just trying to figure out the name, but Hagley Oval is definitely a new ground. So at Hagley Oval, but the good thing is that it happened in Christchurch, and Colin D. Grantham was the one who now holds the record. He broke the 65-year-old record, now holds the record for the best bowling analysis on a test debut by a Kiwi bowler. 133 all out, the Pakistanis, and also New Zealand were also not any better. I mean, even though they managed around, I think it was 102 for 3. In fact, I can tell you today that the New Zealand were bowled out for 200, and it was basically Sohail Khan who definitely did a good job. He was moving the ball about, getting good, I would say good swing in the conditions, and he was able to really get the ball to move, and that fetched him the wickets. Also Rahat Ali supporting him well with both of them, and also Mohammad Amir chipping in. So basically it was Rahat Ali who took 4 wickets and 3 wickets to Sohail Khan and Mohammad Amir, and Colin D. Grantham cracked 29 very quick runs with 6 very well hit boundaries, powerful boundaries at that, 200 all out. So thus 67 runs lead was conceded. And while I'm talking to you, the Pakistani openers have also found it very tough going against the 3 bowlers, Trent Bolt, Tim Southee and Grantham, and they are really surviving, one could say, as the score read 9 for no loss. I'll come back to that later. If at all anything happens, I'll come and cover about that. But first, let me head towards the second day's play in the match between England and India. So India resuming on their overnight score which was 317 for 4. They were sitting pretty, and it was Virat Kohli in the middle, along with Ravichandran Ashwin. Well, the first wicket to go on the second day was of Virat Kohli, as Moeen Ali picked up his wicket by getting him caught by Stokes for 167 with 18 boundaries. Riddhiman Saha was also dismissed cheaply. He was LBW bowled Ali for 3, and Moeen Ali was the one who was causing the problems on the third day with his spin, and he had Riddhiman Saha LBW for 3 and also snapped Ravindra Jadeja LBW for naught to really live. Suddenly the situation changed where England were really coming back into the game with the score on 363 for 7, and Ravichandran Ashwin was at the other end, really, as he normally does, kept on plugging away as far as his batting was concerned, and he was joined in by the rookie, the debutant Jayant Yadav. But what Jayant Yadav showed was some very good match temperament, where he was given a testing time by the English bowlers by testing him with some bouncers, but I thought he stood the test very well, and he also had the stomach to actually fight it out. But when it came to spin, we saw Jayant Yadav was very sure about his batting, as he was really showing some good technique. He was really coming in line of the ball with his body all behind the line of the ball and defending very stoutly. And he was Ravichandran Ashwin, as I said, at the other end was doing the chiseling part of it, and he was waiting for the loose ball to really score off. As this partnership started to take root, with Jayant Yadav also hitting some very good boundaries, as the score started moving, and there was a sort of a respectability there because of Jayant Yadav, Ravichandran Ashwin and Yadav could actually push the score to 427. So that was a nice little partnership, very important partnership, I would say. 64 runs were added between the two, and then finally Ashwin left when Stokes actually picked up his wicket for 58 with 6 fours. Probably his 850 in Test cricket for Ravichandran Ashwin, and what a utility player Ashwin is. And then after that, it was quick work with Jayant Yadav being Rashid coming in and picking up the wicket of Jayant Yadav on his debut. Jayant Yadav looked impressive with 35 with 3 boundaries. Umesh Yadav was Scott Ali bowled Rashid for 13 with 3 boundaries. Shami was not out on 7 with 1-6, and the Indian innings came to a close as they were all out for 4-5-5. The bowling, Moeen Ali, the wicket takers today were Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid. Moeen Ali 3 for 98 and 2 for 110 for Adil Rashid. So after that, now it was the turn for England to take strike, and out came Alistair Cook and Hasib Hamid. And today, unlike in the first innings where they could put a good start, it was not to be. Mohammad Shami was bowling in the right areas. He was getting the ball to nip, and what Mohammad Shami did is he actually tested Alistair Cook by actually bowling 2 balls outside the off stump, and out came the next delivery, the third delivery, where Mohammad Shami pitched it on a length, and the ball jagged back and went on to snake through the bat and pad gap of Alistair Cook and shatter his stumps. And Alistair Cook was the first wicket to go, bowled by Mohammad Shami for 2. And England were 4 for 1 as Joe Root came in, and Joe Root immediately got on to things with a very good flick for a boundary. And Hasib Hamid, as you know, he's a guy who really likes to occupy the crease, and that's what he was doing as this partnership was slowly moving along. It was, after losing Cook, definitely one knew that they had to play very steadily, and that's what they precisely did. And look at what happened. Now, this was a brilliant piece of fielding, one thought, from Jayant Yadav. Now, as you know, Jayant Yadav is on his debut. What a piece of fielding. It's a brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that really says that this Indian fielding unit is looking very energetic. as Jayant Yadav, what happened, what really transpired was that Joe Root got a ball which he flicked it towards the mid-wicket region, and he was going for a single. So Hasib Hamid was the one who had to go to the striker's end. But Jayant Yadav, what he did is he absolutely swooped on the ball like a leopard, and in one swift motion, he actually hurled the ball, which actually made, it was the change of mind that happened, where before, probably Hamid wanted to probably return, and they wanted to go for the second, and Hasib Hamid was in the middle of the pitch, and I'm sure they were really taken by surprise by this wonderful piece of fielding by this debutant Jayant Yadav, who the guy from Haryana. He actually picked up the ball, and as I said, in one swift he leaped on the ball. He leaped on the ball and picked it up, and in one swift motion threw the ball. And Ridhiman Saha did a good job. He did a La Dhoni actually. He picked up, he covered the stumps and collected the ball. And in fact, like normally how his predecessor Mahendra Singh Dhoni used to do, he just threw it without even seeing the stumps from the back, and probably he has learned that from Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and that was it for Hasib Hamid. And now this was something which would have really surprised England, but nobody would have expected Jayant Yadav to come up with such brilliant piece of fielding. And Hasib Hamid, poor guy, was run out for 13 with no boundaries. So that made it 51 for 2 as Ben Duckett came in. Now Ben Duckett, once again, he had his struggle against Ashwin in the first test itself, and finally this was once more a struggle for Ben Duckett. Now Ben Duckett was probably trying to play a stroke there against the bowling of Ashwin, but he lost his stumps. He had no clue whatsoever, and Ben Duckett was gone, bowled by Ashwin for 5. So that made it England 72 for 3. And then Joe Root, after playing a good knock of 50 odd runs, he had made 53, and this was a very good piece of I would say captaincy by Virat Kohli, as he brought Umesh Yadav into the mix and forced Root to play a stroke on the onside. And Ashwin tempted him into doing that, and Joe Root duly obliged, and Umesh Yadav also obliged, I would say. In a way he obliged India, I would say, by actually picking up that catch of Joe Root, and Joe Root was gone for 53 with 6 boundaries, which made the situation a bit worse for England, with the score rating 79 for 4, as Moeen Ali walked in, and now we had 2 new batsmen at the crease, Moeen Ali and Ben Stokes. Now Jayant Yadav, who just as I said, he did a brilliant piece of fielding, and now here he comes with the ball to get his maiden test wicket, and what a way to get it. In fact, he surprised Moeen Ali. Now Moeen Ali probably wanted to give him a sort of a real high stroke. He was actually coming down the wicket, and in the process Moeen Ali was trapped LBW of the bowling of Jayant Yadav. Jayant Yadav getting his maiden test wicket, and he was gone for 1. And then finally it was a torrid session for England. They had lost half of the team for 80 runs, and it definitely required someone to stay at the crease. And then it was finally, I would say, Ben Stokes and Jonathan Bairstow just about survived, one could say, with both having 12 apiece to their name with 1 boundary, and both had to really eschew their natural stroke play, and they had to be very, very watchful, and that's what they precisely did to take the England team to safety at 103 for 5 at close of play. So, but I think their first goal would be today to go to 255. As I said, the pitch is not easy. The ball has started turning, and there is more turn now. We have seen the balls are keeping low. There's some uneven bounce too, and I think life is going to be a bit difficult. Now the bowling, Mohammad Shami, 8 overs 2 minutes 1 for 15, brilliant bowling from Shami. Umesh Yadav, 6 overs 1 minute none for 14. Jadeja, 15 overs 3 minutes none for 38. Ashwin 13 overs 5 minutes 220, and Jayant Yadav on his wonderful test debut, I would say, has got a hand in everything. He did a bit of batting, he did a brilliant piece of fielding, and then he picked up this maiden wicket of Moeen Ali as well. 7 overs 3 maidens, 11 runs and 1 wicket. So that is as far as the match situation is concerned, as far as India and England are concerned. So England definitely have a long way to go, one could say, and their primary aim would be to get to the 255 mark to avoid the follow on. But looking at the pitch, I would say life is becoming very difficult. We are only coming to the third day, but there is a lot of turn on the pitch right now, and the pitch also has a bit of variable bounce through. Well, from here let's head to Hagley Oval in Christchurch to see what really is happening. As I said, today, after yesterday Pakistan were all out for 133, and now it was a turn for New Zealand. And New Zealand, well, I can only say that G. Travel, who played excellently, and it definitely, I mean, when the wickets were falling yesterday, as you know, Latham was first trapped, LBW bowled Mohammad Amir for 1. Kane Williamson was victim of the bowling of Sohail Khan for 4, and Taylor was a victim of Rahat Ali for 11, and they were 100 odd runs for 3 wickets. But today, after G. Travel yesterday on his test debut looked very impressive. I mean, what was good about him, one of the strokes that he played was a mere push, but that really shows me that G. Travel belongs to the big class, because a mere push and the ball was hit so straight, it raced to the boundary. So that really says a lot about G. Travel. I think we are going to hear a lot about G. Travel in the New Zealand team now, because he definitely played a very good stroke, and he also showed good composure when things were really falling away for New Zealand, by holding the innings together in the company of Henry Nicholls. But today G. Travel was consumed pretty early. Mohammad Amir picked him up as he slashed at a delivery which was going outside the off stump. He was caught by Sami Aslam, 55 with 7 boundaries. But today it was not so easy for New Zealand. The Pakistani bowlers held sway, especially Sohail Khan, who was moving the ball very well, and he actually picked up the wicket of Henry Nicholls by having him LBW for 30 with 4 boundaries. But Grant Home, who came really after his exploits with the ball, today he's shown with the bat. He also shown what a good all-rounder he can be, and what he did is he decided to really go after the Pakistani bowlers, especially Sohail Khan and Rahat Ali, and he was hitting them for boundaries. The first ball that he got was on a half volley on his pads and beautifully flicked away for a boundary. Then he pulled a boundary, then he got a cut through the point region for a boundary, and we also saw that how he actually came down the wicket and smashed Sohail Khan into the fence. So definitely Grant Home showing the signs of a very good all-rounder here, as he very quickly made 29 runs with 6 boundaries before Sohail Khan got his wicket by getting him caught. But as he tried to play a hook shot, and the ball ballooned in the air, and Rahat Ali taking the resultant catch. Todd Hassel, BJ Watling, normally one feels that BJ Watling is one on whom New Zealand could always rely, but of late one has seen that BJ Watling is not really in some real good touch, I suppose, because he lost his wicket for 18 runs. Rahat Ali picking up his wicket, getting him caught by Yunus Khan with 2 boundaries. But Todd Hassel, of whom a lot was said before the test match started, Todd Hassel disappointed, I thought, on his test debut. Todd Hassel was out for Todd Hassel, it was not his debut, but Todd Hassel he was out for a blob to the bowling of Rahat Ali. And then Tim Southee and Neil Wagner started biffing a few, as Tim Southee made 22 runs with 4 boundaries, and Neil Wagner made 21 with 3 boundaries and 1 6, as that was it for the New Zealanders, as they were all out for 200. I thought Pakistan did a good job of actually bowling out the Kiwis for 200, thus giving them a 67 runs lead. Mohammad Amir, the wickets 4 for 62, Rahat Ali, and 3 for 78 for Sahil Khan, and Mohammad Amir 3 for 43. Pakistan in their second leg are really very watchful. The bowling has been excellent. It was right on the money, one could say, from everybody. Trent Bolt, Tim Southee, Colin D. Granholm, and the Pakistan openers have been very watchful. In fact, they are just stitching together an innings here, one could say, as Pakistan's score right now when I'm talking to you reads 19 for no loss. This is the second session that is in progress right now. Sami Aslam not out on 6, consumed 52 balls, and Azhar Ali is not out on 13, 50 balls, do 4s, and definitely one has to say that Colin D. Granholm was getting the ball to really swing, and Trent Bolt and Southee also did a good job. Well, with this live cricket update here coming from the Hagley Oval in Christchurch, it's about time for me to end this cricket show on this note by saying good night.